Okay, I need your attention up front, please. We got some things to discuss, too, before we get started, so please, attention up front. You guys are so lucky. We've been chosen from the district to be filmed next time.
Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. We're going to be on the website.
So just know there will be a videographer here taking pictures. Just try and act normal, if you know what that is. Okay? Okay? Try and pay attention too. That would be nice. So I just wanted to give you a warning, a fair warning, that they will be here and they might get around and in your face. So just pretend like they're not there. Okay? Okay. Now that we've had that excitement, let's calm down for a minute. No. All right. So we've had one day into this unit. If you missed it, it is up online. There's several different classes that you can choose from. Know that if you don't get in one period, you might want to pick a different period to watch, because there's different questions asked in different periods, and it might help you to understand it a little bit better. Today we are doing 6.2. We're going to do a lecture first on gram-to-gram stoichiometry, and then we're going to do a rotation. Notice in the rotation you have the same stuff that you're doing. Daily work 6.2, quiz 6.2. The only difference is in red is a help station. Okay, guys? Shh. It's a help station so that I can go around and help you with what you need. But the main thought of it is, in the blue station, you're going to want to make sure that you're next to somebody, or it's more of an individual thing, but if you have questions, you can ask the people next to you. In the green section, you have a group that you can talk to. Okay, if you want to include a group, you can jump over here if you want, or you can be by yourself. It's all right. And then in the red section, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between. If at any time, and you're in one of these other three sections, and there's an empty desk up here in the red, you're more than welcome to come up and get help. Okay? But I am going to stay in the red section. I'll be watching the other section, so if you're not behaving, I'll be calling you out on it. But if you leave the red section and you have not finished your quiz, if you leave the red section, you have not finished your quiz, and you make sure that you come and tell me what your quiz score is. Okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the real chemistry. This is the nuts and bolts to the ground. If I'm working in industry, I need to know how much mass I need to put in to get so much mass out. That's how they do it. They weigh things. They don't say, I need this many molecules or this many moles. No, they weigh things. They take a dump truck of chemical in, they put it on a scale, they dump it into a big vat, and they move something else in that's big. So they don't want to waste a lot of money. So, going forward. I'm going to show you what I do to help myself be able to do stoichiometry easier. I hate story problems. Okay, I do. I just hate them. I've, had that bad math taste in my mouth about story problems. So I learned how to decode them. And this is how I decode them. Whatever it's asking for, whatever I'm trying to get to, I circle. So, how many grams of chlorine? So I'm looking for grams of chlorine. I usually use a color. Okay, can be liberated from the decomposition. I underline what they gave me. 64 grams of gold chloride. Then I take it to the balanced equation. I always need to make sure I have a balanced equation to be able to do stoichiometry. And this one is balanced. And I write underneath each one of them what I have. So I have 64.0 grams of the gold chloride. I need to find out how many grams of chlorine gas that are going to be made. What I don't need to know is the gold, and I cross it out. So when I'm doing my problems and when I get into the stoichiometry of it, I don't accidentally use the wrong numbers. Okay? Now, since we're going grams to grams now, that means I'm going to have to add up the mass of this, and I'm going to have to add up the mass of that. I do that first, because that's something I can do. So I'm just going to do it right here for you. You can put it down on the side for you. We'll sort of talk about it really quickly. These are numbers I just got from the periodic table. I do not use the coefficients though. So you can see that there's 2 AuCl3s. I didn't go 2 times all of that. I just, what is AlCl3's mass by itself, not with the coefficients. Okay, the subscripts I still use, but the coefficients I don't. Okay, so I add those up first, and I know, because we've done this several times, that the mass is equal to 1 mole. And that's important to know, because a lot of kids get this confused at this point. So whatever I add up is equal to 1 mole. Okay. Then I set up my factor label, with my underlined being the very first thing that I'd put. So it's underlined. I don't put anything under the bottom of it. It's just by itself underlined. That's why I underline it to start with. Okay? Because that's my starting point. Then I look at what I've added up, and I say, how can I convert what I have into moles? So we're just using the mole map, going from grams to moles. If we look at the mole map up on the front page there, it is the green arrow that I'm following to the yellow mole. So to do that, I'm going to use this conversion right here. I want to get rid of grams here, so I'm going to put grams on the bottom, and I'm going to put 1 mole on the top. And you can see grams of AuCl3 cancel out. And I do. I stop and I cancel them out to make sure I've got them in the right place. The grams are always going to equal 1 mole. Okay? So wherever I put the grams to cancel them out, the other space is 1 mole. At this point, I'm in moles. And because I'm in moles, I can go back up to the equation and look at my ratio. Oh, for every 2 gold chlorides, I get 3 moles of chlorine. Well, I want to get rid of gold chloride, so I put the 2 moles of gold chloride on the bottom. I want to go to chlorine, so I put 3 moles of chlorine on the top. Again, I'm going to stop and I'm going to cancel out my moles of gold chloride. Make sure that they cancel. Now I'm back to moles. Now I'm back to my mole map. I got to go from moles to grams because I'm still not back to grams of chlorine. So on the bottom, I'm going to put my 1 mole of chlorine on the bottom, and on the top I'll put the 70.90 grams of chlorine. Again, stopping to cancel out moles. Whoops. So you got a preview of what the answer should be. I want you to try and put it through your calculator and see if you get the right answer. Remember on the bottom that you want to hit divide, parenthesis, times through the bottom, close your parentheses, then hit enter. So times through the top first, then hit divide, parenthesis, times through the bottom, then close parentheses, enter. Has everyone had a chance to plug it through your calculator? I want to make sure we do this right. So we're going to do 4 of these problems together. This is the first one. We're going to do 4. And then we're going to let you go try on your own. Okay, let's see. Did you get 22.4 grams? You got 22.4 grams. You did a good job. Okay, so on this one we have 2 significant figures plus that 0 is also significant because it tells me how well I measured. Okay, so next one up. Reading through again. So use my little technique here. Calculate the mass of AgCl. That's what I'm looking for. What do I have? Oh, 200 grams of aluminum chloride. So now I put them underneath each one. So AgCl is right here, so I'm going to go question mark grams and 200 grams of aluminum chloride. They don't have to be on opposite sides. I could do 2 on the same side. I know some of them freaked out last period because they switched places. The question mark gram was on the reactant side and what we were given was on the product side. You can have 2 things on the reactant side given, 2 things on the product side given. You can have 1 on each one. Okay, so what I'm not using, silver nitrate and aluminum nitrate, they're out of there. I need to add up aluminum chloride, the mass, and add up silver chloride, the mass. I want you to try doing that on your own, and then I'll let you see what I've got and check it. So we're just doing the setup right now. So figure out the mass of aluminum chloride, aluminum with 3 chlorines, and silver chloride. And silver is number 47 right here, and aluminum is there, number 13. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to add them up. If not, you can write it down. We're just pulling the numbers right off the periodic table. Okay? So again, what I underlined starts my factor label. Okay, it's underlined. And I'm going to go with my first conversion.
Wait.
Yes.
On that aluminum O. Wait, I thought you were doing like the 3 AgCO.
Remember I told you that's the biggest mistake I see? Don't use the 3 in the front. So the coefficients we're not going to be using. We're just adding up the mass of AgCl. So if there's a number in front, we don't use it. If there's a number inside, like the AlCl3, the subscripts, we do use them. Okay? Good question. Okay, so then I look at what I've added up and what I have. And since I have grams of aluminum chloride, I want to get rid of grams of aluminum chloride. And grams of aluminum chloride are right here, so I'm going to put that on the bottom so that the grams of aluminum chloride can cancel out. And that's equal to 1 mole of aluminum chloride, so I put that on the top. Now at this point, I need to look at the coefficients, what's in front of each of these, because I want to change to silver chloride from aluminum chloride. So, I want to get rid of aluminum chloride. In front of aluminum chloride, there's a 1. We don't write the 1s, but they're there, right? As long as something's there, it has a 1. So that's 1 mole. For every 1 mole of aluminum chloride, I get 3 moles of chlorine. Silver chloride. Let's try that. Okay, aluminum chloride will then cancel out. Yes?
So you don't use the numbers like at the front until you get to them.
Right. Good. We don't use the coefficients. We can't use the balanced equation. We can't use the recipe until we're in the right units. Okay? So if I have a recipe and it's in metric, I really can't use it here unless I change it to English, because all I've got is English cups and stuff at home, right? Okay, so the next step is now we're back at the mole map in the yellow and we want to go to grams. So we're going to be following the red arrow. Going across, we're going to be using, on the red arrow, this conversion. Well, I want to get to grams, so the grams are going to go on the top. I want to get rid of moles, so it's going to go on the bottom. So 1 mole and my grams on top, and then I can cancel out moles. Notice each time that we have grams and moles in the same fraction, the mole is 1. Okay, the mole is always 1. Now, there's a little ditty that I learned to help me remember this, and I can't remember the whole ditty, but I remember the first part, and the first part's all you need anyway. So you start with what you have, right? And then it goes grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams. Grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams. Grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams. And that's all I remember. So that's the hardest part. Okay, and I'm not a great singer, but it goes to the one, if you do it fast, grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams. Grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams. You know that one? So it sticks in your head, and if you remember it, you can start at any part of that. So if I'm given grams, then I have to go grams to moles before I can go on. If I'm given moles, I just go moles to moles, moles to grams. Okay, kind of thing. So you can go at any part of that. Okay, let's plug that through. Remember, divide. And you really don't need a parenthesis on that. Yes?
I need Tyler Pichot to come see a kind of office to check out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Tyler, this will be up on Canvas, so you can watch the rest of it. Okay, so let's plug it through. How many significant figures should we have?
3, 4.
4, good. Because this 0 right here tells me how well I measured. Everything between that and that number are significant. So we have 4 numbers. Plug it through your calculator. What do we get? We have an answer?
I didn't do the significant figure thing. Mine's probably wrong, but I got 644.96.
Okay, do I have a second on that? Yeah, a couple. Okay, 645.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I should have had 645.0, or mine's off one. That's the one I forgot to fix. Because it should have 4 significant figures, and it only has 3. So what was it, 644.96? 96, so 645.0 would be right. Okay, going on to the next one. I'm going to have you now try and start by yourself. I'm going to slowly put things up, so if you get stuck, keep looking up, but go in the steps that I did. Okay, first identify, circle what you need, underline what you're given, put it into the equation, or under the equations, cross out what you don't need, and then add up your masses, and then start your thing. Here we go. Whoops. Okay. So you're working on C. If you get done with C, go ahead and go to D. But if you get done with D, stop. Work on your quiz. I want you to make sure that you're doing it right before you go on and do more. So what do you have? So you want to try to find this, right? So put a question mark under that. You've given this, so put that number under that. Anything you don't have a number. Okay, so those of you that are struggling a little bit, follow me up here. First thing, identify mass is what you need to be finding. So down here I'm going to go question mark grams. And I'm going to underline what they gave me, which was the 30 grams of Ki. And I would put 30.0 grams of Ki underneath here. At this point, I cross out what I don't have anything under, which are those two, so that I know I'm not using those. Okay? Then I'm going to add up the Ki and the PBI. Okay? And start my factor label. I'll put the rest of the factor label up in a minute. So we put something under here. We put something under here. That means those two don't have anything on them, so they're not being used.
Okay, but how do you know what to put?
I read right here, calculate the mass of PBI, so question mark grams, by starting with 30 grams of Ki, so I put 30 grams into that. Done. Yes?
So with this, what do you do now?
Okay, so now you're going to cross out grams of Ki, right? Mm-hmm. And you're trying to get to the mass of PBI too, right? So now I'm going to go back up to the ratio. For every 2 of these, I get 1 of those.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to put 2 KIs on the bottom because I want to get rid of them. And PBI. Uh-huh. Okay, I need you to be writing. Did you do this?
Yeah, I just didn't get an answer, so I wrote the one that you got.
I don't have an answer up there yet.
Oh.
So, and you need to make sure you put full units on it.
She'll let them sleep in her office, like during a class.
Catch the stuff that's up on the board right now so you can get caught up. Okay, how do we do? Yes?
No, grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams.
Grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams.
Like a lot of moles.
The moles is the ratio. When we go moles to moles, it's the ratio from the equation. So grams to moles is the map. Moles to moles is the balanced equation, the ratio. And then when you go moles to grams, that's back to the map. So map, balanced equation, map. Okay? Yes? So whatever's on the top to start with is going to go down on the bottom. Okay? You're wanting to cross out. So top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. It has to be the same. Okay? Yes? Mm-hmm.
So you know how you put the whatever is in front of this?
Mm-hmm.
So I just confused myself, and I'm not sure which one, like, this one was on. Supposed to
So-
go like this one or that.
This one.
Okay.
Whenever you go from grams to moles, it's always just 1 mole.
Okay.
So grams to moles, 1 mole. Moles to grams, 1 mole.
Okay.
Okay?
So, sorry.
Nope, you're good.
So if that was like, if that would have been like a 2, it would have gone right there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, grams to moles is from the mole map. Moles to moles is from the balanced equation. So whatever in front of the ones you're trying to change each other, they go where they would go to cross out.
So I know that this number right here is going to be KI.
Right,
So it's
which is that. hmm
So
And then the
why is
1
it
mole on
that-
top.
Why is it that number specifically? Like,
Because that's how many grams are in 1 mole. So I'm going to use that to get to moles so then I can use the balanced equation. So it's like this is my conversion factor to find out if the recipe's in metric and I need it in English. It's what I need to multiply by.
but that makes sense.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, we okay to move on? If you want to take a picture real quick, take a picture. If you haven't got it down. Okay, we're going to go on to the next one. If you have not started it, you need to start it. Again, I'm going to just show you really quickly what I do. How many grams? So I circle this. This is what I'm trying to find out. Okay, and I like, if you want to use 2 different colors, that's awesome. Okay, the composition, that's how much they gave you. So down here I put, 100.0 grams. And I need to find grams of this. Oh, well that means I don't need that. Right? I needed it to balance the equation, but I'm not going to use it for my stoichiometry. That's why I'm crossing it out. Now if we're using this equation for several different problems, then I would probably rewrite it each time because it helps me to keep things straight. Okay? What do we need to do? We need to find out the masses now of gold chloride and chlorine, and then we need to go through and do the factor labels. So let's see if we can get this set up. So add up the masses first. You can do that.
I just write so like I get 100 grams of chlorine, right?
Of Cl2, put Cl2.
CO2.
Yep, you got to keep track of it, the whole thing.
And then so 1 mole of
Cl2.
yeah. And then down
mass
here,
of Cl2.
Yeah, wouldn't it be Cl2? Would it just be Cl2 or would it be 3
Just-
Cl2?
Just Cl2.
Cl2, it's 2 times Cl2.
Yep, 35.453. Nope, not 12. 35.453. Okay. Sorry, Kaya. Yep, that's it. Right here.
No, you know the risers like the separate risers on the side. You're taking those down.
I did this one wrong because I started with this and ended with this.
Uh-oh,
So
you did
starting
it
with
backwards.
this-
So just flip those two and flip those two.
So if I was to start, which one would go on the
So what was I given?
100?
100 grams of chlorine. Always start with what you're given.
Okay.
And then you got to get it out of grams of, and that's Cl2, right?
Oh yeah. And then it would
Then
be
you got to
this
put,
on the bottom.
yep, and the 1 mole on top. Okay, I'm going to give you some because it looks like a lot of you are booking through this now, which is good. So there's your masses and where you started, converting to grams. Okay. Hopefully you got those. Double check on your numbers.
2 times 35.45.
70.90.
Just make sure. But you said 3 at the end. I'm like,
No. That's grams of Cl2. Do not forget to put all your clothes on. Okay, the labels are considered clothes on numbers. You don't want your numbers running around naked. That's embarrassing. Okay. No, we'll be in here. Yes, ma'am. How do you know if it's what? What's in front of? So what's in front of Cl2?
3.
So that goes on the bottom because if it's here, it goes on the bottom next. What are you trying to get to? What's the other thing? Because once you're using this, you got to use the equation. So what's the other thing we're using in the equation?
Is it?
Is this
So,
answer?
so 2 moles of that.
55.
I don't have it memorized, child. Sorry. Nope, it's 4. So 355.0 is right.
And then would it just be 1 mole of this on the bottom and this on top?
Something's wrong with that number. Oh, 303. You're okay. I thought it said 30.3. I'm sorry. So, okay, we need one more conversion here. So in between here and here, you got moles of Cl2. So you want to go from moles of Cl2 using the equation.
So look.
So you put 1 mole Cl2 on the bottom.
From here, 2 moles, and then you have to go down. So you have
And then you would put, oh, sorry, 3 moles of Cl2. There's a 3 in front of that. Just change that to a 3. And then the top one would be 2 moles of AuCl3. and then you'd put that 303, so remember that, but you got it right here. So this would be 2 moles of the AuCl3. And then on the bottom 1 mole, and then this mass on top. Okay? If you need to, just take your tailor and lean it forward. Okay. Okay, let's put a couple more up and see how we're doing, if you got an answer right. So after you get to the moles, then you're using the equation. Okay? Once you get to moles, you can come up to the equation. You use these coefficients as a ratio. I have 3 moles of Cl2. For every 3 moles of Cl2, I get 2 moles of gold chloride. Okay? Then I can cancel out the moles of chlorine. And the last step, we're going to be using our moles of gold chloride to find out how many grams of gold chloride we can get. And we cross it out and plug it through, and we should end up with this. How do we do? Thumbs up, I got it. Thumbs sideways, I'm still near there. And thumbs down, I am so lost I can't even see straight. Okay. All right. So what I'd like to do now, I know there's a lot of you that still have a lot of questions. I want to go into a rotation so that I can get more of your questions individually answered. You have a quiz. I want you to take the quiz. I also want you to do your assignment, the practice. Now, the first couple are just like what we've been doing. So if you're lost on those, skip over those and go to the next ones, because the others, they're review. Okay, so they're simpler. So do what you can do when you get to the red section. Like I said, if there's an empty space on the red section, you're more than welcome to come up. We're going to do about a 17-minute rotation. Okay? We're going to stay right here for 70 minutes, then we'll rotate, and then we'll rotate again. We're going to do a modified rotation.